Now, this is Gabriel Shapiro, a prominent attorney who actually is the CEO of a law firm called Metalex, if I'm not mistaken, right? That's the name of it. But guys, this is an interesting exchange. Of course, he has some knowledge, but could he be wrong on some things? Could there be more to this space? Let's check out and see how he feels about the space because in my opinion, right, who is he in defense of? I couldn't really tell. I wouldn't be able to say, you guys, right? He's an attorney, as I said, but who would he be in defense of? As I said, would he be defending the self-custody side or more so the banks and the securities and the financial institution sides, right? So let's check this out.
Down that road. Why doesn't requiring Apple to do disclosures make the experience of using an iPhone worse?
Which disclosures are you talking about?
Their 10Ks, their 8Ks, their SEC disclosures that they make. It doesn't affect using an iPhone at all, and it does help the market value Apple stock, get ahead of issues, know that their financials are accurate. I don't quite get it.
I have no problem with Apple deciding to disclose things because huge investors with billions of dollars demand that kind of information.
Yeah. But they're legally, but it's not really scalable for financial markets, right? Part of the reason why the capital markets, capital equity markets work beautifully is, every individual investor doesn't go and have to talk to Apple management, right? It's closed. And, it's also not, because they're required to say certain things, as you say, they must say something in order for it potentially to be fraudulent. Everyone has the same information. They don't have to go and actually talk to Apple about it. And, everyone's in parity. I think there's a certain beauty to that. Now, it can't go too far, obviously, and there are trade-offs, right? But this is part of why markets work and why, Apple can trade at great, Apple stock can trade at great scale by many institutions is because we've solved that social scaling problem through law. Everyone gets the same information.
Standards of disclosure can absolutely be handled by marketplaces. Like if you're an exchange and you want to be reputable and you want to draw volume to yourself, it's in your interest and it's in the interest of your customers for the assets that you list to provide certain information that you think is appropriate. And I think it's not a scary world to imagine that different exchanges might have different listing requirements.
Right.
That's okay. It's okay if not everyone does the same thing. It's okay if not everyone is forced into the same regime. And that flexibility, that dynamism is precisely the thing that allows markets to grow and for innovations to happen. Become a security, registered as a security, they would have to abide by these disclosures which don't even apply to them. And
absolutely, you would have to tailor the disclosure regime. I would just leave you with one question, and we should probably let other people talk.
Then we're going to move on.
But one quick question just to think about. Why were these disclosure rules invented in the first place? Why didn't, in the Roaring & when it was a very free market, why didn't all these people get together and just start disclosing these things? Why did we have to pass a law about it?
We can bracket that. Maybe come back after the break if folks think that going down further the disclosure. To the extent disclosure, it's interesting because disclosure is often seen as a less burdensome regulatory technique than substantively regulating conduct or activities as such. And yet disclosure can be difficult as well to craft a disclosure-based regime that itself is effective in terms of what's disclosed, how it's disclosed, when it's disclosed, how frequently it's disclosed, and all the rest. So it's notable just as a general proposition that while disclosure is sometimes seen as easier than conduct-based or substance-based or activity-based regulation, it is by no means easy. And part of it is thinking about, from my perspective, part of it is thinking about the ways in which those to whom the information is being disclosed actually engage with the information. Does it actually improve their decision-making, or does it frustrate their decision-making in a way where disclosure may prove to be counterproductive? So it can be a complicated crafting the right disclosure regimes in any particular context can be complicated, setting aside this particular context. So I think there's probably more to come back to on all of that.